what is the role with roadside inspections, and what do they play in causing an FMCSA intervention?
All right, so ultimately, I used to be a state patrol guy for 12 years. And prior to CSA, they had some old system, if there's any old school truckers on here, called SafeStack. And prior to CSA, they only cared about our out of service violations, ones that shut you down at the scale. Well, I don't know, a decade plus ago, they came out with CSA. So now every roadside violation can affect your CSA. So what does the government do? Well, the reason CSA was invented was for compliance reviews. People lose sight of that. They think it was invented for insurance or brokers or litigation attorneys or shippers, receivers. No. The whole purpose of CSA is so the feds can target companies that are no good or that they perceive as no good. So controlling your CSA scores across the board is the #1 way to keep the feds from coming into your place. They have bucket carriers. The more CSA alerts you have, the more likely it is they're going to come visit you.
Makes sense. Well, besides the roadside inspections, what else could prompt an FMCSA intervention?
Well, I told you about CSA scores. And again, CSA scores are tied directly to roadsides. The other two, actually three major ways that you can get a review are these. Get in a high profile fatality or crash. When I say high profile, the feds are, and this is a misunderstanding, the feds are not coming in on every fatality. The feds are not coming in on every serious crash. It has to rise to the level of somebody drawing attention to it. So for example, the Walmart crash with the comedian Tracy Morgan. We had one fatality and a bad injury, but the feds were all over that. I had another company of mine where 2 parents died and a son who was 2 died and the girl was paralyzed. And they never came in and did a review there because one hit the media and one didn't. So high profile crash, but not in all cases. Another one, a complaint. FMCSA has a complaint database. I just went through a review with one of my customers in the last couple of weeks because one of their drivers filed a complaint. They passed the review, but because it was documented, that's what does it. Now, they can't just say, oh, my logs are false. The company makes me run illegally. The government really wants like dates and times, some kind of documented thing so they can target when they go in and check it out. Complaints are anonymous though. Whoever filed them, you won't know who they are unless you guess. Now, if the feds come in, they have to tell you, if you ask, are you here because of my scores? Are you here because of a high profile crash? Or are you here because I got a complaint? And they will tell you which reason. The fourth reason is this. Drivers have driver's licenses. Trucking companies have their CSA scores monitored at roadside based on your DOT number. Well, drivers have driver's licenses. They have this thing called the PSP, which companies understand what that is. You can spend $10 and see their history. Well, the government takes the PSP data and scores the drivers. It's called the driver information resource. So companies have scores, so do drivers. It's just the drivers are not open to the public, but the government will target the worst of the worst drivers in the country. I, as an investigator, used to get assigned to go to a company that was dumb enough to hire the guy that is one of the worst drivers in the whole country. And that was my job. So 4 reasons: CSA, high profile crash, complaint, or called Operation Unsafe Driver, where they target those bad guys. You don't do one of those 4, you're going to be stellar.